Good morning, everyone. On behalf of Adani University and the Cybersphere Club, I warmly welcome all the respected faculty members, dignitaries, and my dear friends to today's expert session on cybercrime juggernaut, really an invincible monster? In an era where technology is advancing at lightning speed, cybercrime has become one of the most pressing challenges of our time. Today, we gather not just to understand this challenge, but to explore whether it's truly invincible or preventable through awareness, law, and technology. We are privileged to have with us an eminent personality who has witnessed the intersection of law and technology at the highest levels. It is my honor to introduce our esteemed speaker, Mr. Ashok Tarachand Ukrani, educator, trainer, orator, and a retired district judge. Sir has served the Indian judiciary with distinction for nearly 2 decades. He was posted as the Registrar, Information Technology at the High Court of Gujarat and has played a pivotal role in implementing major e-governance and ICT innovations across courts in India. He has also served at the Supreme Court of India as a member of the E-Committee, contributing significantly to the National E-Courts project and digital transformation of the judiciary. With deep expertise in cyber laws, free and open source software, FOSS, cyber forensics, and digital justice systems, Sir brings a rare blend of judicial wisdom and technological insight. Currently, through his initiative Copyleft Humanware, he continues to promote technology awareness and digital empowerment. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Mr. Ashok Ukrani, sir.
Thanks, Madam. Dr. Mr. Raj Jadhav and Dr. Madam Ritika Ladhaji. These 2 points of contact and one more of your faculty, Madam Maurya, who also happens to reside where I am residing just nearby. So through these contacts, I came to know about this program of your university, and for last couple of months it was being contemplated that something of this sort we can arrange. So lots of formalities, engagements, schedules, and now finally we are meeting today for a subject which is so dear to me that although my identity as has been given just now is more so-called attractive because I am coming from judicial service. But I would like to be known as someone, although had been to judicial service, but someone who is still a student of technology, the information and communication technology, and with an underlying condition. Like if someone is a foodie, he can make a condition, he can put an asterisk and say, veg only, isn't it? So that's how I would say a technology enthusiast, but condition, special interest or addiction of free and open source softwares. That's my dharma, if you can say. That's how I've grown. Before joining judicial service, I was into IT, I was conducting a computer class, teaching disk operating system in those days from 96 to 2002, Windows 3.1, when mouse was still a luxury in those days, when Fox Pro programming, Fox Basic, DBase, and thereafter C, people started taking interest in C just because it was there in the syllabus of BTech. Otherwise, not very pleasantly interested the people who used to come for C, they would say that because I have a subject here, so I have to learn C. So from those days, switched over to law, and from there joined judicial service. Within judicial service, because of IT background, had been given mostly the tasks about computerization of courts. And as part of that profile, I had an opportunity to work in the E-Committee, a body in the Honorable Supreme Court of India, which works for policy formation of information and communication technology across the country. And during those days, my exposure and love for free and open source technologies, especially Linux operating system, grew. And as part of that exercise, we should not forget to remember the then Chief Justice of India, Honorable Mr. Justice S.H. Kapadia Sahab, who was so keen in saving public exchequer money that he wanted to save money if it is possible, and not to spend on software but to spend on hardware and other infrastructural requirements. So through his decision, Ubuntu Linux operating system was adopted across the country. Free and open source system for all judicial officers, for all court complexes, for all members of staff of courts. Right now about 3,500 court complexes are there across the country, and they are using Ubuntu Linux operating system. I am talking of those days when if we talk about Ubuntu Linux with people, even from technical background, even the BTech students, they'll say, sir, can you play a multimedia file in Ubuntu Linux? Does the mouse work there? Because they still thought that Linux is that primitive command line black screen system only. But Ubuntu Linux had already grown much before that, much before we started using it, and now it has grown too much. And I hope that because you all are BTech, and I assume that you are BTech computer science students, so you must be knowing about Ubuntu Linux, or at least Linux, isn't it? So you must also aware about Linux, the power of Linux. And I hope that some of you, but because you are new generation people and we come from those bicycle days, you people right away start with a motorbike or even a car, command line exposure. Some of you must be having. If mouse is not around, you should feel happy that okay, now I'll work on command line. This command line is the bullet Enfield kind of riding. This is not the childish thing or new people who would want everything in graphics. So CLI is the go-to word for people like us. So from that background, the love for Linux kept growing. We had customized Ubuntu Linux operating system for the judicial officers across the country, the Ubuntu 10.04, the 2010 version. And that ghosted CD, the remastered CD was sent across the country. People started using it and things like that. So we have seen the Linux grow. And during that part, some forensics discussion had also come. I'll be touching upon that during our discussion. So the subject which was discussed with your esteemed faculty, and we had back and forth some of conversations that what subject we should take. And because of my judicial background and a cross section of experience in IT, so when you bring law and IT together, the child born is not a good one, isn't it? When law and IT come together, then people would say, oh, cybercrime may be a subject. So that's how we started working on this subject. And finally, we are here today to discuss about this cybercrime juggernaut. Is it really invincible? Can we conquer it or we cannot conquer it? I think juggernaut is a okay word for you, isn't it? Someone was telling me when he came to know about this subject, he said, are you taking a Shakespeare's class or a IT class? Why this very unusual English? But I couldn't find a better word than this, juggernaut. Yes, the situation is like that only. It is a juggernaut. It is like a typhoon or a tsunami, the way it is coming in front of us, in front of our society, and if we are not prepared, then not many of us would be saying that it is not invincible. We would have to admit that yes, we were defeated. What do you think? Is it conquerable or not? Partially. Someone may say that, see, even for COVID people used to say this, isn't it? People thought that after COVID, world may be there or may not be there, I would be there, I would not be there. But we survived. So if we can survive another juggernaut, the pandemic tsunami, then why can't we conquer this also? That bright spot in thinking may be there. But the situation around is not that encouraging. When I had a chance to attend a couple of cybercrime sessions like you people here, a couple of sessions at Delhi, 1 or 2 sessions I had chaired as a group, the panel discussions, and 2 sessions at Police Academy in Hyderabad. In one session, some IPS officers were also there, and in one session, all judges from the country were there, and I was there as a coordinator from the central body, the E-Committee of the Supreme Court. And what I felt after those sessions, I have to share with you. What I had expected, and what outcome I got from those sessions. Let us ask this from you also. What do you think that this session, what do you expect from this session? And what usually happens, that also I'll share with you. That experience may be taken as a chacha's experience, someone of 1 or 2 generation earlier experience. And you people would be Y and Z and all that. So that experience may differ. But what do you expect from this session? Being a BTech student, you would think that we will be knowing about how hackers commit crime, isn't it? Or how very serious crimes are being committed across the world, how people are losing their money, losing their identity, losing their private data and things like that. Some expectations of this kind. And only time will tell after 11, what do you think that whether those expectations came to be true or you didn't get anything or we just were there to listen. But I have to tell you something from my side. When I saw 50 judges sitting in a cybercrime session or some other people sitting in a cybercrime session, to me that exercise was not that very useful for the participants. When I submitted a report from my side, I submitted that, sir, this should have been done in a different way. Why? What I felt, that the expectations part and the outcomes part, let's compare it. The expectations was that the hype, the Hollywood or Bollywood kind of hype. What people do, the cybercrime experts, when they go before people to address on cybercrime, they think that these all are either people who have already been victims of cybercrime or they may become victims of cybercrime. So either the existing victims or potential victims. For example, if a senior doctor comes to address a class and that class is for doctors, so he would treat them as patients. He would think that this disease that I am talking about, even one day they may also come across similar days in their life, so I should tell them about this, then this. And after half the session, even the people sitting in the lobbies, in the audience, start thinking that yes, leave aside my doctor logo or my BTech thing, let us make ourselves safe first. So that horror and thrill was the major thing which was delivered through sessions. I thought that either the objective was such or that came to be shown that to terrify people from cybercrime, that Hollywood hype. And this Hollywood hype led to fear mongering. People would say, oh, this is so serious, I didn't know about this. And what many of the judicial officers had remarked after those sessions, I would share with you. And after such situation of heightened fears, if we come across the third situation which comes to our place, is that some interesting things, some tickling things also the people who come as the expert sessions, they would place. They would think that if most of them are not interested in cybercrime, at least they will be interested that the photographs of that actress were leaked, the private data of that fellow had become the target of a cybercrime. So at that moment, everyone would get interested. Oh, this is very interesting. What happened thereafter? How did the actress deal with the situation? How public reacted with it? So sensationalization, tantalizing stories, and that was also part of those sessions. People would like to see that, see, this would help me to get some attention from the audience. And these stories, after these stories, when some people would think that some help I need, please tell me, if I have to take care to save myself from cybercrime, what should I do? That was also one expectation which you also have agreed upon. And some people from the audience were the actual victims. After the session, they will go to the expert that, sir, I had lost money in a cybercrime, but now this problem is there. How should I tackle this situation? What remedy should I get? So they are the actual people who wanted a doctor not to address but to heal, but to prescribe. These were the expectations. And what were the results, the outcomes? When I started leaving the class with them, because my job was to coordinate with them, I had to talk to them. What did you feel about this session? So the first expectation was true. Fear index rising. But yes, everyone who was not aware about the seriousness of cybercrime, they thought, oh, it's very serious. Keep away from this. And the other outcome that I could see was some people thought that one day COVID may not kill the system or the universe, but cybercrime will. So doomsday experience. They'll think that it will end the world. And thereafter, the other outcome that I saw, people resolved after this session never to use technology or anything that has any possibility of a cyber crime to happen with me, to keep away. And then a resolve, a decision, a result, as he said, it is partially controllable, but after cyber crime session, people would say, we cannot do anything, sir. The monster will only win. And one or two very senior people I came across, immediately after the cyber crime session, what he did was that he, as a person, a customer of a bank, was using an ATM card, so he surrendered the ATM card. Said, sir, not to use it at all. This was the outcome. So that fear thing, that horror thing worked, and people got away from the system, got away from the technological benefits. And some people said, okay, ATM I'll keep on using, but at least this net banking thing I'll not use. That is very dangerous. So outcome was that after the cybercrime session, some people just enjoyed those sensational stories. Some people were afraid, intimidated, and some people who were earlier praising technology, they started criticizing technology and they made a resolve, we'll not use it now. And most of the cybercrime sessions, if a workshop is held 2 days, 1 day, and you call 4 or 5 or 6 speakers, what they'll do that initial first of the session would be horrifying, spread terror, tell them about seriousness. and later part they'll come on the subject. Ours is not a part of a 2-day conference. We have one session only, and our subject is that monster thing. But when I attended 8 of such sessions, everyone during first part was almost similar. Only the stories differed, and then they came about something practical or something relating to what is happening around the world. Only one fellow whom I still remember, I thought he was worth the session. Only one lecture of those 2-day conference. And who was he? He was a technical expert, a BTech, MTech like you people. I think he was a PhD also. And what he said in his lecture, his experience when he got a laptop of a terrorist to be analyzed, and after he gave an analysis report of that laptop, the cyber forensic analysis, and when that document was collected by the police and submitted to the court, and when court got that document and it became an evidence before the court called him as witness. Do you know that doctors go to courts for deposing? Any idea? Many doctors have to go to court for depositions, गवाही देने के लिए. And most of them, the post-mortem doctors, the orthopedics who treat accident victims, they have to go to court and tell the court that, sir, I saw this, I did this, what surgery I did, what injury I saw, and what according to me was the reason of death of this person. That person is called expert witness. This is the language of law. Expert witness. No court can work without an expert witness. I have taken deposition of dozens of doctors before me. Many of them who had done postmortems of some bodies, many of them who had given some orthopedic treatment or some disability certificate to a person who had become impaired after an accident and things like that. And when I met them, the real meeting with a doctor was there. When we used to listen to them, what they are saying, how did they do it, and a document before us was there, a treatment certificate, an injury certificate, disability certificate, and most of the thrilling thing was the post-mortem report. Has any one of you seen a post-mortem report? We should not get an opportunity or an occasion to see such reports, but ours was the job. We were made to see a post-mortem, a live post-mortem when we were trained, so that when we would be sitting on dais and some post-mortem report comes before us, so we should be able to relate that what this report is saying and what thing that fellow must have done and how should I connect it with the incident or with the crime. Similar thing, if someone of you becomes a cyber forensic person, would have to do with a hard disk, with a mobile device, with a computer, with a modem, with a router, with a networking device, or even with a cloud service, or even with a single electronic file which is the subject of crime or which is the subject of dispute. And if you happen to be a person from the cyber forensic lab and give a report, then court would call and they will ask. So that person who had analyzed a laptop of a terrorist, he gave his live experience, how I was treated in the court, what questions were put before me, and how I dealt with those questions. Only that one session was useful for me, because that told us about the practical aspect. What happens? Why it is a juggernaut, or why it is a monster, and why it is or it is not invincible. Things like that. If we get to think about those aspects, then only we will say that some part of the session was useful. So you also make some thought in your mind, what do you expect, and then compare this, what do you actually get after the session. Whether you got some new thing, whether you got exposure to how courts work, how cyber things are working in courts, in police. And as you know that the success rate of any good initiative is how much? You have heard about 80-20 rule? that whatever biggest good thing you will do, the 20% of you must be bright inside. They'll think, okay, yes, this was something which I wanted, and they'll take it forward in their lives. Now, who of you would be in that 20 and who of you would be in that 80, that you have to start thinking from now on. The internet was a decade ago, or more than a decade ago, was known to be the fastest growing innovation. People said mobiles came, computer came, calculators came, pagers came, but none of them was so fast to spread and reach every home of the universe. A decade ago, internet had that record, but now even internet does not have that record. So they said telephone took 50 years, radio took 38 years, television took 13 years, and internet took only 7 years to reach everywhere. Everywhere. And the problem starts here. Yes. Facebook, 4.5 years. AI, the generative one, 5 days. It took 5 days to reach every home. And if we talk about 100 million people, then it is 2 months. This AI, but which one? The generative. And who may be the next? Who would surpass even this generative AI? The experts believe that the next would be agentic AI. You know about Cloud A, Anthropic. You must be hearing about these stories. Yes. Now it's matter of days, or it may become matter of hours. And when such a fastest growing and innovative technology is there, people thought that internet is a boon for the universe. That something called internet is there. Global village. People started making slogans that now we are part of global village, we are global citizens and netizens and things like that. See, language is very rich. You can describe anything in the way you want. But when they started meeting a twin of that internet, because internet was not born alone, a bully twin was also there, and that twin started showing his face little later, and when that twin started, which was so inevitable, you cannot stop it. You cannot avoid it. Then people said, oh, in the internet days, these things could be happening. In 1997, I had read a book of very well-known author, Mr. Peter Norton, if you have heard his name. Peter Norton. This is yesteryear generation people talk. Peter Norton. He started writing a book. Many books he wrote. He was a class author and a class developer. The programmer, the coder himself, and the author himself, the teacher himself. Norton. He was known as Norton, Peter Norton. So in 1981, he started writing a book inside the PC. First edition, second edition, third edition, fourth edition. In 1997, it was 7th edition. And in 7th edition, he had written that a day would come when a father would be able to control the car being driven by his son and also control set limits on the speed or even the geographical limits beyond which the son cannot take this car outside those limits. That was 1997 thing. So when I read, we used to tell in sessions with it, people who go, oh, something like this will happen, sci-fi movie kind of a story. And now it is not a big thing. The first computer that I bought, your smartwatch has more processing power than that. And people say that the today's smartphones have more processing power than the first PC landed by NASA on moon. That's what is there in our hands now, on our wrists, that growth. So when such growth is along with a bully twin, and that is inevitable, so we have to think that if medical science grew and medical crimes also came along with that, technology grew and technological crimes also came. So we have to pose a question before us. Whether these crimes, the cyber crimes, the technological crimes are very different from the conventional crimes or something similar. Like when the vehicular traffic increased, roads were built, vehicles were built, so a lot of vehicular deaths also started happening. Vehicular accidents also started happening. But that deaths figure or those accidents have not stopped people from driving vehicles or be intimidated by roads or by vehicles. But this is happening with this. So we have to think with the cyber crime has something very, very different inside it than other crimes, or it is just a twin, that bully boy whom we can control with some rules and regulations or some awareness or something like that. We just talked, yes, it is a juggernaut, accepted, partially, conquerable or not, we can decide a subjective decision. And after this thing, which we accept that yes, something is there, an elephant in the room whom all people would describe differently. You have heard a story about that. So a cyber crime is there before us, and every one of us would be thinking differently about that cyber crime. If I start something like this, let's ask a question. Who came first? You know about that famous question. Who came first story is about whom? The egg and the hen, isn't it? So any answer so far? If someone of you might have formed an opinion, no, I believe hen or I believe egg. So now it is only a talk of sessions like this. Pehle murgi ya pehle anda, isn't it? But I have a different question here. There is a story on the net, very small thing. Some people say that it was the Bachchan himself who replied, but people say no, it was someone else. Then some people say no, it was a very big sage who had replied like that. A person was there whose hair were white like mine, but his beard was black. So person jokingly asked him that, sir, you are the same fellow, same body. The graying has happened only on the head and your beard is still young. And the reply of that fellow was this one. He said, my beard is younger by 15 years, sir. I started getting hair first or second year of after my birth. But beard I started growing late, so it is still young. The who came first thing. But today, that small joke may be relatable, but what we want to ask from us, not egg or hen, who was born first? What do you think? The criminal or the police? Criminal, sure. Practically we see that. I have an unresolved question in my head which I will not be touching upon here. Being a student of Vedic philosophy, I put this question from that context also. When we start reading Vedas, which came at the origin of the universe, even Vedas have mentioned about thieves. When the world had not started, was yet to start, even that has some mention of thieves. Okay, that's a different discussion. But today, from our context, you are right that who came first? Criminals. Or we are all agreeing upon this. Isn't it? So who is the early bird then? Who is more experienced? What about this? The first pistol, the first weapon, the first knife, the first weapon of those days, who was to use that first? Naturally, because criminal was the person who came first, he started using it first. Who is more innovative? And some police officers, if they are sitting here, then Would they allow you to say this? Or they may be frankly admitting this situation. I have seen many of them, many of them. It's a very difficult question. Yes, the thief, the criminal used the weapon first and even the technology first. So who is the beard and who is the hair? The criminal is that elder person, more experienced person, and the law enforcement agency has came later, has little experience, and there are some other issues also. Do we accept this as a general rule? Crime is always ahead than law? Do we accept this? If you accept, then invincible talk is ending here. If crime is always ahead, then who is the winner? The crime. We have to think about this. And about who is ahead and who is not ahead, I have to take you someone very young. You must have seen. This fellow you must have seen. Any idea? Which movie? Wednesday. Then who is the supposedly criminal and who is the police here? You already know. Now who is ahead, that's what I have to show to you. You may be happy that young people are winning everywhere, isn't it? And do you think that every hacker is like him? Every hacker is this kind of yo-yo person wearing a hoodie and going here and there? That's a general image which has been created in the society. I'll show you a different hacker also during our discussion. Someone very unusual. When I came to know about this, I was also very pleasantly shocked that some kind of hacker man hours, hacker human resource is growing in that section of people also. We'll see this. But if we say that the early bird is the crime, that early bird has some advantages. Cyber crime has anything to do with psychology? Any idea? I had an occasion to meet a forensic expert, a very renowned lady here in Gandhinagar Forensic Lab. She is Madam Vaya, her name. So she is expert of psychology and related analysis which is being done there. So during our discussions, Madam said, even the cyber crime, the electronic thing which you are talking about has more to do with psychology than computer science. Keep this in mind. The phishing thing, the digital arrest thing, the deepfake thing and its impact is happening because psychology is working. Because the people who are the perpetrators are knowing better psychology than those who are the victims and they are not able to stop it. Yes, psychology has very deep connection with cybercrime. And if you would not attend to that, even if you become a tech expert or ethical hacker or just an enthusiast who want to learn about this, you're not about to reach the real depth of it. And apart from the advantage that the hacker has, because he is the attacker always has some advantage. And the person who is defending has some advantage of being late, being defensive, start preparing. The person who has come, who is already prepared. And there is a talk about 0 day. You have heard about this thing? In your cyber crime study, this is a concept that you have how many days to defend if your organization is attacked by a cyber criminal, by a ransomware attack or any other cyber attack. You have only 0 days to start preparing. And that's how this 0 day works. for the criminal and against the victims, against the law enforcement agencies, against the government, against the intermediaries, and whoever else is there on the other side than the criminals. They are on the defensive. And the biggest challenge before the police, before the judge, before the judiciary, before anyone, is that cyber criminal has no jurisdiction. He can operate from anywhere. For a person who is a thief, who is a attacker, murderer, or some other conventional crime, the police will come and they'll decide that this is line of jurisdiction, this is police station A, this is police station B, I'll take this case or you will take this case. Everything is very clearly demarcated. And for a criminal, if he is interested on cyber thing, he can go anywhere, he can sit anywhere, he can commit crime for anywhere, from anywhere. That is the biggest advantage for them and biggest challenge for the people here. There is very little cooperation between agencies, between countries. If a person who has done something with us from abroad, not every country is cooperating with us. Not every country has a treaty with us that I'll give your criminal back and you will give my criminal back. That kind of treaty is not there with every country. And a treaty United Nations drafted, 72 countries agreed. India is yet to agree because of some structural reasons and because of some Supreme Court judgment interpretations. They are not able to sign that treaty even today. That is a challenge. So, no borders is a big advantage for them. And the other very big challenge for that criminal and the police, for the hacker and the cyber investigator or the cyber police, is that who has the better effort? You have heard a reel or watched a reel about cat running after a mouse, and people say that mouse is running for its life and cat is running for food. The mouse has only this life, cat will get another mouse also. The objective differs, the seriousness differs, even the interest may be differing. Whether a cyber investigator would be as passionate as a criminal? If a criminal, day and night, he has just hacking going around in his mind. But the police has a lot of other work also. The cyber person, the investigator has a lot of other cases also. And then he is a salaried fellow. He gets his pay. Although lots and lots of sincere people and who are giving their lives are there. But then the objective differs, the outcome differs, and effort also differs. A hacker would say, I want this, the boot, the loot. And for the defender, it is just law enforcement agency, the earning, the salary. And therefore, they are winning. As of now, we are not very ahead of them. And that's why this session, otherwise we would not be talking about putting question marks whether it is conquerable or not. Who are responsible? If he said it is partially conquerable, if after the session some of you also said, no, we can conquer it, let's be positive. And after the session, if I'm so keen about that horror content which is coming very soon, then some of you may say, see, it is invincible, we cannot do anything. If that happens, who is the person responsible for that situation? We, the adjudicators, or the police, or people on technology side, the intermediaries, the government, the victims? Let us classify them. We'll remember this throughout our session. Some people who may be held responsible, or we can say that they are the reason. Public, isn't it? Is public responsible? How? Just go to your news web portals, Google News, and search last week news, not before that. The digital arrest cases happened in Ahmedabad, not even beyond Ahmedabad, only in Ahmedabad. You will come to know that people like retired Navy officers, retired professors, retired senior people, educated people become a victim of digital arrest. Someone just call them, your number is appearing here, your number is appearing there, now you are not allowed to leave your place and give your credentials, we want to verify your bank accounts, we have to freeze your bank accounts, this and that, and the fellow, very senior person, remained inside his place for 28 days and kept on giving money to the people who had digitally arrested the so-called world, the fellow, and only after the bank was suspicious why so many bank transfers are happening from this senior person to a different organization like this, and every time something different, then he alerted the son of that retired fellow, and that's how this case came out. Last week's news item. Just an example. We'll not go to figures how many crores and hundreds of crores are happening. That's not our job here. But this shows that the first person who can stop cybercrime is who? The victim, the public. Who gets a call? Have you got a call? Any one of you? An attempt for cybercrime? Sure. Even the faculty members here. I have also got. One day I got a call. He said, so and so name. Yes, I am speaking from courier service. A very big name he took. And there is a parcel you had sent from Surat to Nigeria. And the enforcement directorate people has got hold of that parcel. And some narcotic item is there. And now you will be answering this. The moment he started, I got to know. I was so busy otherwise. The way you have heard about Firki Lena. You know what is Firki Lena? You can enjoy also, but I was so busy. It was a working day. So I said, do whatever you want. Hang up. So he might have got an idea that this fellow would not come. The psychology works here. And in cybercrime books, it is called social engineering. Respectable word. Social engineering. They are so expert in talking to criminals, to victims. Some web series you must have seen about this. Everyone knows. And the way those very teenage boys and even girls were talking to their victims. So victim has the first duty, the first reason. I can tell you about an incident 15 years ago when I was sitting in my chamber at the Supreme Court and one stenographer was working with me. So I was dictating something and suddenly he said, sir, I have got a call, I'll go outside. Okay. So that was not my judicial work because there I was on administrative duty. So you don't have a stage and dais and things like that. It's like a regular office. He said, sir, I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay. So after 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, he came back very excited, very happy. And some people are so naive and so open that they cannot hide their sudden happinesses. I said, what happened? Because I knew that he was about to get engaged. So I was expecting something on that line. He said, sir, I just got a call. I am going to get a prize. That company has selected my name. I have to send my bank details. This is 15 years back. So I said, show me your number, the number from you got this call. So he checked that number. He said, sir, Tata ka number hai. Immediately. And you know, now after this mobile number portability, that thing is not very relevant. But in our old days, if you are 9898, then you are Airtel. If you are 9825, then you are earlier Hutch, then Voda and this and that. If you are 94, then BSNL. People used to say that this doesn't give me that status. 94 number nahi chahiye. Now those lines are very blurred because now you take any provider's number and get it MNP'd to any provider. So that doesn't work. But he said, sir, 92 series hai. And that 92 series was used mostly in the states by Tata, Docomo, that GSMA and that other WCDMA numbers. So I took his phone and I just saw and tried counting the digits. That 92 was not the series of the mobile number, but 92 was the international code. What is the international code of India? 91. And what is the international code of our dear neighbor? 92. I said, you just got a call from Pakistan. He was terrified. He said, अब मैं क्या करूं? तो कुछ नहीं करो, चुप रहो. And if you want, then I can assist you. Let us report it to the police. He said, नहीं sir, police के धक्के कौन खाएगा? So he didn't opt to report. I pursued him. He said, we are working in court, sir. Now see the plight of a person who is a court staff. And which court? I had lost my mobile twice in Delhi. I stayed there for 6 years. I filed my FIRs, IMI number, this and that. We are being recorded. Nothing happened. So this fellow said, sir, नहीं मैं complain नहीं करूँगा. ठीक है भाई. We tried and he didn't budge. So public. You know, there is a country, if you go to YouTube and search something to be searched for by yourself also, in a country, people like AI images and AI avatars and deepfake videos. You are seeing now monkeys teaching you many things, puppies teaching you many things, isn't it? So grandma has been created by a country. I will not name further details. So that grandma is AI grandma. And very innovative idea that country has adopted, that if you get a call from a number and you get to understand that this was an attempt of cyber crime over me, don't do anything. You are not interested to pursue it, file a complaint, this and that. Just report that number to some short code, some number so and so, so and so, so and so. And that's a government number. So what that government would do, that all those numbers which are collected like this, they will put these AI grandmas after those numbers, will call them, will keep the hackers busy. So grandma will be talking, beta kaise ho? Ghar mein akeli hoon, this is not working, I'm not getting anything my phone, the OTP I didn't receive. And some OTP that fellow sends, she would say anything. And the hacker, she would ensure that hacker should not get to understand very soon that I am something of AI and something to kill his time. Very innovative. Have you got an idea, a thought on crossroads when you stop at a signal and some beggars are pestering you? Some people say, take it. Some people say, माफ करो. Isn't it? पीछे जाओ, किसी और से मांगो. And some people like me, what do? They'll just keep them waiting. I know what syndicate is behind them, how these beggars are brought on signals, and what forces are working behind them. That's a very well-known thing now. So I'll ensure that he or she should spend maximum time before my car. And by then that signal stops. So less people like me would be pestered. So that AI grandma is taking care, placed by the government like this. Very innovative. Very, very innovative. So people, the public, if the monster wins, the first buck would pass to the public, not the police. Because the cyber crime is such a thing which is worked through psychology, and when we falter, we fail to take care of ourselves, then only that cyber crime is perpetrated or it is actually executed. Then this branch, law enforcement agency. Law enforcement agency, by law enforcement, what do we understand? Who is the law enforcement agency? In our terminology, law enforcement agency means the police. First is the police. The whole setup of the government which works to ensure that law is obeyed. And if the law is not obeyed, then catch hold of that fellow and take that person to the justice delivery system, to the court. That is law enforcement agency. And who is the law enforcement agency for cybercrime? Again, the police, isn't it? Now see the fun. The person who is investigating murders, who is investigating thefts, who is investigating other conventional crimes, that same fellow is also investigating cybercrime. Is this a good situation? Our country is trying hard for more than a decade for police reforms. They said police should not be given bandobast duties, or at least make two branches of police, one investigators and the other people who manage the law and order. Is this a good idea or no? Definitely, many countries are like that only. The investigators are specialized people, and the people who just ensure law and order are those worthy wala people. And here the same fellow has to take care of many of the tasks. We have seen those people working. So this person is the law enforcement agency for cybercrime also. But my hope is this: the bright shining star for cybercrime is who? The forensic experts. To prove a murder, post-mortem report is compulsory. By now you must have thought about it, isn't it? I cannot say that someone had died unless the body was recovered, unless the post-mortem was conducted and post-mortem report shows the cause of death. Isn't it? Okay. A police officer investigates a murder case and he investigates about who did it, what happened, what was the reason, this and that, and then he takes the doctor along with him to the court that, sir, he did the post-mortem, please take his deposition also. So the court takes deposition of that doctor also. And when the case would be over, the honorable judge would be reading the deposition of police people, the witnesses, the eyewitnesses, the family members, and also the doctor, the expert witness, isn't it? Now similarly, a cybercrime. What do you think? In cybercrime also some documents would be there, some reports would be there, like a mobile is seized, like a hard disk is seized, a pen drive is seized, a whole computer is seized, and that computer, hard disk or mobile, they are analyzed and a report is given. So before a judge, that report is there. Now biggest challenge is that even the judiciary is learning, isn't it? A police officer who is right now at a senior position and his age is at about 50 or above 50 or around 50, do you expect him to be a cyber expert or technical expert? And that same thing applies to a judge also, the judicial officer also. They are getting trained. We used to conduct training for many judicial officers. And the young lord who is coming are very technically oriented and very techno-savvy people. But still that senior batch are there who are still learning, still struggling, reading and trying very hard. So the biggest thing about a judge's job is that, to me, if he is or she is justifying his place, he must be the base learner of the society. You will not get a learner like him. Because in the morning he has a murder case, after that he has a defamation case, after that he has a divorce case, then he has a property case, after that he has something else, and in the evening some new law is passed, so tomorrow he will be studying that new law and deciding that new law. Lots and lots of learning. The advocates also and the judicial officers also. So when that report will be placed before a judicial officer, now compare that postmortem doctor and this person who analyzed the hard disk. How much percentage you will attribute to that postmortem doctor as being important in a murder case, and how much percentage you will be attributing the importance percentage to this forensic expert in this case where hard disk was analyzed. What do you think? Equal. In many of the cases, I would tell you, we straight away went to the last line of the postmortem, cause of death. And there is something more to get into it, then we will see other paras and paras. Cause of death, what the doctor is wanting to say. And mostly the cause of death, if it is not directly convicting or involving the criminal would not also take objection to it. Okay sir, mar gaya, that's a fact, death to hui hai. Lekin in this case, in the hard disk case, the whole thing has to be understood. The whole analysis has to be understood. So the forensic expert will be the key witness in that case. So he holds more importance. So if the cyber crime would be conquered, the man of the match would be forensic expert, the cyber analyst. And that forensic expert is who? What do you think? Who are they people? Which faculty they come from? What qualification they hold? The cyber forensic, we have slide on that also. I spoke to madam also here that in Gandhinagar the finest cyber lab of our country is there, the forensic lab. And all BTech students should be shown that lab also. So I have also something on that side, if you read that slide in this. The forensic lab, if you go to their website and see their recruitment advertisements, very recent one, and those recruitment advertisements say the entry level positions are BTech computer science, MTech computer science. And now there are some colleges who are teaching BTech computer science with specialization in digital forensics. So digital forensics will include disk forensics, mobile forensics, network forensics, this and that. And a day would come now, people have started AI forensics. So the forensic experts, the potential man of the matches, and the other functionary who has to take care of the situation is the adjudicator, the judge. If a very fine analysis someone of you does and it is placed before me and you say, sir, I generated a hash value of this. How did you generate it? I use this command, this tool and that tool. Then what is hash value? What is man in the middle attack? If you happen to see another movie on this hacking, there one very pinching dialogue is there for a police officer. The narrator says, 3 महीने का कंप्यूटर डिप्लोमा करके साइबर टीम का हेड बना है. We are talking about a story, it's not a fact. But if that situation is there, just because I am comfortable with the gadgets, that doesn't mean that I'll be fit for anything relating to cyber. That notion has to be cleared. That applies to police also, that applies to anything. See, right now people say, are you techno-savvy? He's very techno-savvy. What do you mean by techno-savvy? This techno-savvy comes from the age when gadgets were not very much liked by people. They'll be preferring books and conventional work. They say, oh, he's comfortable with technology. And that techno-savvy, savvy word, you go to language and see. And that techno-savvy word is now replacing expert thing. So he is techno-savvy. So technical expertise is much beyond just being a techno-savvy person. So adjudicators, and after adjudicators, who would be the umbrella, the government, the legislature, who are passing laws, who are creating laws, and the intermediaries. This word you have heard about, intermediaries? Anyone here? If you are a Facebook user, the Facebook becomes the intermediary. If you are a Airtel Wi-Fi user, you are a Jio fiber user, then the company which is providing any service to you, the digital service, the platform or data or connectivity or storage or whatever, they become the intermediaries. So the responsibility of intermediaries is also very, very high. What do you think? If you get a call, marketing call on medicines suddenly, and you think that I am not ill, nothing has happened to me, why I got a call on medicines or drugs and doctors and hospitals and all that. Now everyone is clear about this. Why this happens? Your smartphone is listening, isn't it? 10 years back I had that inkling that something has happened. There was a blood test report of my mother which came to my email, and immediately I started getting calls. So my email was read by intermediary, and that data was used by intermediary to show targeted ads and things like that. So intermediary is responsible or not? Yes. And intermediary, because it was just going out of control, the government of India has come up with Digital Data Privacy Rules, the Act and then the rules, DPDP Act. They call it DPDP Act. So that DPDP Act makes them responsible. What data you will collect, what data you will not collect. You will tell the person whose data it is that this data is required or not required, and you will not share that data unless it is authorized by law or the government to anyone else. And you have to expressly tell the data principal, the person whose data it is, that I may be doing this, that thing with your data. I accept clicking. You clicked I accept how many times in your life? 100, 1,000, thousands, and how many times you read those conditions? Never. We just know that this I agree and I accept is only for being clicked, for being tapped. Yes, I accept. Aage jao. And that I accept contains the whole legal scenario. Every wing of yours is clipped. You have agreed to everything. You have said yes to Google on many things. And that's why these big people are using your and my data for their own purpose, for some services also which are being given to us, and for some other purposes also. The regime, the government will be the very important functionary if this cyber crime has to be conquered. And the other problem is here, the global regimes, the governments, the foreign entities, the United Nations organizations, the Interpol, the organizations which are controlling the domain names, the internet world, the www thing, all lots and lots of regimes and entities would also be part of it. This slide we may be using at a later stage also. Keep these 6 people in mind. Are they 6 or 5? To me they are 6. I have just grouped 2 under one head. The public 1, the police 2, forensic expert 3, the person who has the potential to become a man of the match. A separate entry has to be given, separate number has to be given. Fourth is the judiciary. Fifth is the regime and other entity, the infrastructure, institutional infrastructure, and then the global ones. These 6 things. We'll be coming back to this slide whenever we'll get time, this session or the next session, and then we'll see what role each of them has to play. And just a list of conventional crimes to give a thought how a cyber crime would be different from them. How a cyber crime would be different from a theft. I remember 25 years ago, a person came to me when I was conducting a computer class. He said, "Sir, मेरा internet data चोरी हो रहा है." You understand what he means by this? Because right now this unlimited data thing is there. In those days, data was counted not even in GBs, but in not MBs, but sometimes in minutes, hours. So internet plans, dial-up connection plans, we used to purchase for ourselves 40 hours, 100 hours connection, 3 months validity and things like that. So a fellow came that said, I have an internet plan, but someone is using it and the count is showing very rapid reduction. So I went to the police station in those days, 25 years back, when IT Act was not there. So when he met the police inspector, "Sir, this is happening with me." The police inspector said, "Okay, I don't know what is happening." He forwarded him to a person who would be actually writing a complaint, the FIR. And that FIR fellow, he said, "Data चोरी कैसे हो सकता है? कितना बड़ा होता? कैसे उठा के ले जाएगा?" That concept that there is some intangible theft also was still new to the law enforcement agency and to the other parts of the system also. So conventionally, if you compare theft and some theft which has happened online or which is cyber crime, you have to compare it and think that courts which are expert on theft and not on cyber crime, the laws which are expert of handling such conventional crimes and not cyber crimes, how that same institution would take care of it. Very difficult, lot of learning and very steep learning curve. So that's how we thought that this slide should be there, the comparison slide. And some cyber crimes also we have listed here. You are already reading in your syllabus, this and that, BTech syllabus is there. So you know what is phishing and what is vishing and digital arrest and this and that. This list of 24 cyber crimes, I have taken it from cybercrime.gov.in, the Government of India website. So instead of going to textbooks, what your textbook is saying, what textbook of other universities are saying, this is Government of India list. Surprisingly, I couldn't find the cyber crime which is the hottest these days in this list of 24 cyber crimes. Any guesses? Yes, digital arrest is not there. See, it takes time to update a website. Approvals are involved. Some person has to work constantly, some teams have to work. So this list also has to evolve. Okay, just a slide. Now why I thought that it's a juggernaut, I may be little fast on these some slides, you can just go and watch. There are some threat maps, online threat maps, live maps, that from which country attack has originated and that attack is happening on which country. Redware threat map we are seeing right now. Some big companies, big organizations are cyber intelligence organizations. They collect cyber intelligence data and they provide cyber security services also. They have lots of data to show that in the world right now what is the situation. We'll not go to web page right away. And this was Redware. This is another Kaspersky website, the antivirus software, they also have lots of information about from where attack is originating and where it is terminating. Then there is Checkpoint website, which also has similar data. Fortinet is a company. Fortinet you have heard about? Firewalls, the biggest player of firewalls. So if your organization has a firewall and if it is Fortinet, that box of 25 lakh rupees knows from where your organization is being targeted. What data is going out, what data is coming in, what data it did not allow to come in and things like that. So Fortinet is collecting such data, compiling it, and this report is there. And wherever you are seeing that India is the target or India is the originating country, don't think that that may be the actual origin. Someone sitting in Pakistan can use an IP address of India to attack China. Things like that. So this is just what place is used to attack. So that proxy thing may also be there. They may be live, sometimes they may be hours late or some days difference may also be there, but very useful resource for a person who is interested in cybercrime. This is a report by Redware 2026 report, and just if you have time and you are interested, I had thought of showing you here, but just to save time we are not going to that PDF file. That report is alarming. They say that landscape or cybercrime is changing. You know DOS attack? Denial of service attack. And if you know DOS, then you must be knowing about DDoS also. How DDoS is being executed, what resources are being used for DDoS. Very alarming things are there, and this 26 page or 30 page report is worth seeing for all of you here. This Jamtara thing we discussed, that from where this hacker human resources are coming. You need people to commit crimes, and there are regions which are experts, and after this Jamtara movie and web series, now everyone is doing. 10 years ago it was a very niche task. If someone would say there is a town like this and they are just doing this activity, so this thing now is very common. We may not be using it here. Any idea about this? This as a service concept, you know. Platform as a service, software as a service, infrastructure as a service, SaaS, PaaS, IaaS and everything, isn't it? Now this is about CaaS, if you call it, or CaaS. Cybercrime is a service. This was new, or you heard about it? If someone is not a hacker but has to commit cybercrime, no problem. Everything is available on payment. Dark web, the other means you go to some providers, pay some charge, they will arrange phishing for this fellow, they will arrange digital arrest for this person. Any cybercrime packages are there. Pay this cybercrime, pay this cybercrime. And this cybercrime as a service has many categorization. Ransomware as a service. So no need to be a computer expert to commit cybercrime. But this requirement is not relaxed for the person who wants to stop cybercrime. For person who is wanting to commit, he has lots and lots of resources. Malware as a service, phishing as a service, DDoS as a service, hacking as a service, and exploit as a service. Lots and lots of victim data, phone numbers, emails and things like that are available. Cybercrime as a service. This was very horrifying for me. I came to know about this when I started preparing, compiling some information for your session. You know there are scam factories. I think we only have 3 or 4 minutes or 5 minutes here. We will be concluding with this and we will be seeing what it wants to see. Because why we called it a juggernaut and why it is a monster, I had to take a pause after knowing this and seeing this. A major part of the ecosystem has moved offshore. Thousands of Indians have been trafficked to Cambodia, Myanmar, Laos, where they are forced to work in cyber slave compounds, targeting people back in India. They are called scam factories. This creates a massive jurisdictional head start for the criminals. Digital arrest and overseas job stream, this is also one part. I'll be sharing the link and all that, the PDF with this. So I had thought of sensitizing you that the ecosystem has grown so seriously. This botnet thing is there, you know, you have lots of internet based devices, your refrigerator at your residence, a smart fan may also be working for a hacker if it's not secure and safe, and some cyber crime, some DDoS attacks must be executed, maybe being executed using that botnet. There is a 5-minute movie showing how a grandma, she is the hacker. A very loving grandma, very beloved wife, but the pastime, the hobby is hacking. The phenomenon, the modus operandi, everything is shown here. So if you have botnets at your residence, you have lots of people who can become someone like her and start working for the monster. Some hacktivist people are there, they think that they are digital Robin Hoods. For a cause they hack, that thing is also here. Who would be responsible? This discussion is there. I would just keep the last information for you on this slide. If you are interested and you get time, we are only halfway through, lots of case studies and judicial and technical discussion are still there. One thief and one policeman. These two very well-known bestseller books. The left side, Ghost in the Wires, is Kevin Mitnick, a hacker who has also stayed 5 years in jail, and after coming out of jail, now he is the most sought after cyber security expert. He is the most wanted hacker of 80s and 90s, and this book is astonishing. So one video after this was by him also, how he used to hack. People used to say, if he'll pass from here in those days and you have that telephone line here, he'll just pick up the telephone line and whistle into it. And listening his whistle, the switching system there in the telephone exchange would get a code, would get access to some other corporate telephone system, and he could execute lots and lots of serious crimes just by whistling in the phone. This is not miracle. There was, the tones were there, computer tones, engaged tone, the busy tone, redial tone. So he has to mimic those tones and commit it. So on one side this thief, the other side he is a policeman of US, Marc Goodman. His bestseller book is Future Crimes. And he started speaking about the seriousness where the cyber crime has reached. And during his TED talk, which video I had to show here, he has referred to the Mumbai terror attack and how the calls were intercepted, mobile phones were seized, laptop data was used, and he, being a police officer and an international police officer, he had occasion to see everything. Then I connected whatever he said with the judgments given by High Court and Supreme Court. And that was the case study we had to do, that see, a police officer says this data he collected, he saw, and the judges asking and telling about this data and this data. And how not a gunman police officer, but the person who did the cyber thing became responsible for or contributed to the hanging of Ajmal Kasab. So when you read the judgment of Ajmal Kasab case, you will see that the major part was played by electronic evidence, the forensic expert. That was the reason I told you that even if the match would be won, who would be the man of the match? Would be the forensic expert team, the expert witnesses. Okay, so I was told that you have some session at 11 o'clock, so I would conclude here. Although lots of other discussions are there from judicial side, technical side. One small demo on Kali, we had also planned. I had brought Kali, the terminal version here, to show you something about disk forensics and how forensic people take a disk image and how they hash it and how the court would view it and how that data recovery is done. Something of that kind, and some other discussions were there, how very famous cases either were won or lost due to electronic evidence. I just give you a homework or a parting message. You have heard about one murder case, Arushi Talwar murder case. So who murdered her? Not decided yet. Initially who was tried? Against whom the case was filed? Parents. Then Sessions Court convicted, High Court acquitted. They said no. And just go and read what was one of the clinching discussion, clinching evidence which was doubted, and that was something electronic. What was it and why did they believe it? Why did they not believe it? That's for you to see if you are interested further in discussions like this. So I'll conclude here, and it was very enjoyable on my part to be here. The copyleft humanware that Madam said, the free and open source thing, most of it is kind of academic and just to serve the institutions. I've started it to teach people to be on the academic side, to be with brighter people like you and the esteemed institutions like Adani University. So some content I'll try to provide through social media also, the YouTube thing and everything. So if you are interested, you can just keep a watch. If you have any suggestions, you can pass on to me through Dr. Jadhav sir, Madam Ritika ji, and if anything I can just share with you, I'll try my level best. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir, for such an insightful and thought-provoking session. You have truly helped us see cybercrime not as an invincible monster, but as a challenge that can be tackled with awareness, law, and responsibility. Now, as a token of our gratitude and respect, I request Dr. Raj Jadhav sir to felicitate Mr. Ashok Ukrani sir for sharing his invaluable time and knowledge with us. Sir, your insights will certainly guide us to become more responsible digital citizens. With this, we conclude today's expert session. Let us remember, technology is powerful, but informed minds are even more powerful. Thank you everyone for being such a wonderful audience. Have a great day ahead.